Hi guys, in this video we're gonna learn about Smart Dimension command, how to use Smart Dimensions to fully define our sketches, and some dimension settings. To use Smart Dimensions we need a sketch here, so click on top plane and sketch. Now here I'm gonna create a line on this screen, and we can see it is represented in indigo color. So this indigo color in Solidworks represents a underdefined sketch, and the fully defined sketches are represented in black color. So to fully define this sketch we need to use the Smart Dimension. Click on Smart Dimension and select this line. One dimension is a stick to our pointer. If we move our mouse to vertical upward direction, we can see this horizontal distance between these 2 points of the line. And if we move our mouse towards the right direction, it is showing a vertical distance between these 2 points. So we need only the length, so just go parallel with this line and click here. As soon as we click here, we can see a modify window in which we can give dimension to this line. Let's say 100, press enter. Click OK. Now here this line hasn't changed to black color, so we need to give some more dimensions from this origin, as this origin is the only fixed entity on this screen. So just go to Smart Dimension and give relations from these points. So select this point and select origin and give a vertical distance, let's say 80. Click OK. Now here you can see a underdefined sketch can be moved anywhere on this screen. So we need to fix this point. We can't leave these sketches like this, because when we go to 3D modeling, we don't want to let them drag away by mistake. So just click on Smart Dimension, select this points and give dimension, let's say 40. There is one more way to identify the underdefined sketches by looking at the status bar. Now here you can see underdefined. So this sketch is underdefined and we can see it is not black. So just give one more dimension to this, select origin and this endpoint and click here. Let's say 30, press enter. And now we can see it is turned black and fully defined is written over here on the status bar. Close this and delete this sketch. To create a fully defined sketch, always try to start the sketch from the origin. Like I'm going to create this line from the origin. Click here and you can see this line is already in black color, because when we click on this line we can see one coincident relation and one horizontal relation has been automatically applied to this line, as we have created this line from this origin. But the length of this line is not defined yet. That's why this endpoint is not black. Just go to Smart Dimension and give dimension to this line. Let's say 60. Now this line is fully defined without any extra dimensions. Just delete it. Now let's try to fully define a rectangle. Select corner rectangle. Click here. Go to Smart Dimension. Provide its height, let's say 50, and its width, let's say 80. Now here, to fully define this, we need to give a relation to any of these vertices from the origin. Select a Smart Dimension, give relation horizontal to this origin and one dimension vertical from this origin. Just click OK and you can see our sketch is fully defined. Now just clear it out. Now let's try to fully define a slot. Select straight slot, create this slot here, and add dimensions. Select a smart dimension and give dimension to this line, let's say 100. Give radius to this arc, let's say 15, and provide some dimensions from the origin. Select this horizontal dimension and one vertical dimension for the to constrain the vertical motion. Now the sketch is fully defined. Just select this and delete. Let's try to fully define some more slots like this arc slot. So choose one of the arc slot. I'm gonna select this center point arc slot and let's just select the center. Give them a start point and the end point and the radius. Just click OK. And now let's start dimensioning this slot. Go to dimension, give radius to this slot as 70, give radius to inner arc and provide dimensions in between this start point and origin and this end point and the origin. Click OK. Now the sketch is fully defined. Just click OK and select this and delete. Similar to this one, we can dimension a circle. Select a circle here and give dimension. Select this circle and give dimension. By default, Solidworks takes only diameters in this case, and when there is any arc, it automatically switches to radius. So give diameter as 60 and its position from the origin. Let's say 50 and 80 as horizontal. Now the sketch is fully defined. Select and delete. So when we create the circle centered at the origin, we only need to give the diameter of the circle and it will be fully defined. Just select and delete. Now if there is any arc, let's say center point arc, give a smart dimension, select this radius, and this is underdefined because these two endpoints are not defined yet. So give dimension to them from origin, the start point and the end point. Now it is fully defined. Just clear. We can also define these two similar to this center point arc. Now let's try to define a polygon. So select a polygon here, dimension to the circle, just 80 dia, and the second thing to dimension is the center of this circle. So select this and give relation from origin to here, horizontal, and give one more relation to vertical. We can edit these dimension by double clicking on it. Just double click on any dimension and you can change it. Just double click and change the dimension. Now this sketch is still underdefined, so we need to dimension one of the vertices of this polygon. So select this and click OK. Now it is fully defined. Select the sketch and delete. Now the next thing is spline. I'm gonna create a simple spline. And now how to dimension the spline to fully define this. So just click on Smart Dimension, and here you can see all the points you have selected while creating the spline. So we need to just provide horizontal and vertical relation from the origin to each of these points. Select this point and give vertical and the horizontal dimension. Similar to this, vertical and the horizontal dimension. Similar to this, vertical and horizontal. And the last point, vertical and the horizontal distance. And click OK. Now we can see our spline is fully defined now. Uncheck it, select and delete. Now the next thing is ellipse. Select this ellipse. Click OK. And now we need to fully define it. Select a Smart Dimension and give dimension from origin to this point. We just need to give major and minor axis. Let's say 80 here, and this one is 30. Now we can see we have used these points to fully define it, but still it is underdefined. In this type of cases, just uncheck the Smart Dimension and we can add relation from these points to this origin. So just click on these points. I'm gonna click all of these 3 points, and we can apply relation as horizontal. Just click on horizontal and click on OK. Now here you can see the sketch is fully defined. I'll make a in-depth video on relations in Solidworks, so we will cover that. Now select this and delete. Move over to our next entity, which is partial ellipse. So just select this and give the start point and end point. So in this case, just go to Smart Dimension and give dimension from here to here. This one. And give dimension to the start point. Now to the end point, select this. And now the sketch is fully defined. Exit the Smart Dimension, select and delete. Now the next is Parabola. Just give its focus, start and end, and go to Smart Dimension, give distance to its focus and the start point, and the end point. So now our parabola is fully defined. Just exit, select and delete. The next one is conic. So select this. I'm gonna give relation from this axis y to x and on origin and the value of rho. Select and give dimensions to this. Now just give distance from this shoulder to this one. Now here our conic is not fully defined yet, So we can add some relations, like from this origin to this point we can add vertical relation, and here as well we can add horizontal relation. And now we can give dimension from this point to this origin and click OK. Now select this sketch and delete. Now let's say if we want to change some dimension settings. For an example, I'm gonna create a slot here. So select a straight slot. Now I'm gonna apply a dimension on it. It's between these 2 points. Click OK. Now whenever we create a dimension, it switch over to property manager of the dimension, in which we have 3 areas like value, leaders and other. So let's start from value. Now here we can see different areas like style, tolerance and precision, primary value and dimension text. So these settings are only applicable to this dimension. Let's say if you want to add some tolerances with this dimension, just click on this tolerance type and you can select a basic, bilateral, in which you have positive, negative value, limit, symmetric type. You can have minimum, maximum values, fit with tolerance. Like this one, you can select. If we are giving dimension to a hole, we can select standard hole fits from this list. And if we also want to give shaft fit, we can select from this standard list. We can use these 3 orientation options like this one. You can see the change over here. So whatever style you like, you can select from these styles and you can provide these. And if you are not using any standard type, you can just click on here minimum, maximum values and change these values. You can also give what number of decimal places you need with these values. These values are for the unit, the main numeric you can see over here, and this round of values are for the tolerances we are given over here. So for now we don't want to provide any tolerances with this dimension. Just select here and select none. Now the next thing is primary value. In this we can change the name of this dimension. Let's say I want to name it as length. So any sketch or dimension you create here in Solidworks, you can see this kind of format. So this part before this @ symbol is the name of your dimension, and this part says what sketch it belongs to. The next thing is we can change its value. Let's say if we want to change it to 100, we can change this dimension from here as well. Now if you want to see this dimension in some brackets or this kind of frame, and if you want to change its alignment, just select this and we can change its position wherever you want. Just click on this again and it will get back to this original position. We can change its position here as well. If we have text in this dimension, we can add these symbols like this diameter, phi symbol, degree, plus minus, and this kind of box. And if it is a hole, countersink hole, we can use these symbols with that. We can use this depth symbol with this. So here you can see in the dimension text box here, all of these symbols are represented as a tag. So if you delete any entity in this tag, just click here and I'm gonna delete this T here. You can see it is now disturbed and now it is representing the whole text here. So it conveys a meaning to SolidWorks that to use this symbol, we need to use this tag in this dimension text. So just put the letter T back here in this depth, and here you can see now these symbols got back. So these kind of symbols have these special tags. And if you don't want to use any symbol here, just delete any tag you don't need here, like this mod box. Just delete, and don't delete this dim tag which represents your primary value. Just select this and delete this, and you get only the dimension in the dimension text box. Now if you want to show dual dimension in your dimensions, just check on dual dimension and you will see dual dimension is represented over here. Now how to know the unit of this dual dimension? Just go to your units, select edit document unit, and in this window we can select dual dimension length. If you want to set it as centimeters, just select centimeter and click OK. Now this dimension can be seen in centimeters. Just click OK. Now here the last thing is style. So if you want to apply the previous setting, just click on this button, and if you want to save these changes permanently on your SolidWorks software, then just click on add update style and give a name to it. Let's say my DIM. Click OK, and you have saved a style. So whenever you create a dimension and you want your styles, just click on this and select your dimension from this list. If you want to delete a style, just select this, delete a style, and your style will be deleted. You can save this style, and you can load a style from this load style button. Just click on here and you can browse the style from your system and click on open. Just click on this dimension again and select leaders. Now that we don't have any leaders in here, but we can learn how we can change the arrow styles. Here we can see the first option which says witness leader display. Here we can see we can change this dimension to outside or inside, or we can select the smart way. In this, the software itself decides where to put the arrows. We can change the styles from here. Select this, we can get this tick mark, we can get a solid dot, hollow dot, and lot of arrowheads are available here. And by default the SolidWorks uses this type of arrowhead, so if you want you can use this. When we use leaders, there is some bend. You can use this predefined bend in these leaders. We can change the style of the dimension line by unchecking this use document display, and we can change the dimension lines here. We can change the thickness as well, and we can do the same with the extension line like this. And if we want to choose a different style, uncheck it and select the style from this list. You can also change the thickness of these extension lines, and anytime you can reset this style to SolidWorks style. You can also add custom text positions. Select solid leader, select broken leader, and broken leader aligned with the text. Now the next tab is other. Here you can see override units. This particular dimension is in mm, and if you want to see this dimension in some other unit, you can just override the units and change it to some other unit. let's say centimeters. Now this dimension can be seen in centimeters. Just uncheck it and it will get back to the default unit. You can also change the font for this particular dimension. So just uncheck use documented font, go to font and select any font you want from this window. Select this, click OK, and you get a different font. You can reset it anytime by clicking on use document font and you get the default font. Now the last thing is options. Here we can see two options are given over here. First is read only and second one is driven. If we change it to driven dimension and click on OK, now here you can see this dimension line and the extension line has been turned to gray. Now when we try to change this dimension, just double click and you can see it is written over here, the dimension selected is a driven dimension and its value cannot be changed. So if you want to set a dimension like this that nobody can change, you can set it to driven dimension. And when we select read only and click OK, now here we can see when we select this dimension, double click this dimension and now it brings up a message and says dimension length at sketch 1 is read only. So we cannot change this dimension in this option as well. So what's the difference? In driven dimension, when we select this dimension and the properties appear, we can change the name of the dimension from here. But when we set it on the read only mode, we cannot change the name of this dimension. So that's the difference. Just click OK. So now that you know how to use a smart dimension, how to dimension your sketches, and how to use the settings for some dimensions. If you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe my channel, like the video and comment under this video. I'll see you in the next tutorial. Thanks for watching.